Alright, so as the title says, today we're going to be doing the Tesla brakes. They're off of Model S, 2012, 2020 Model S, Brembos. I'm going to go ahead and put those on today. Quite the upgrade. Let's get a little before. So it's going to be a 13-inch rotor. Let's go ahead and show you that stuff real quick. Alright, so here's everything. Here's the 13-inch rotors for like an 04 Cobra. New brake pads and hardware. Evo 8/9 stainless steel brake lines. Got the CTSV Brake Swap kit. This makes it so it has the hub centering for the bigger hub of the rotors. And then it also offsets 5 millimeters for the center of the caliper. And then we're just waiting for the calipers. They should be in here soon, but I figured I'll get started taking off both sides wheels and take off all the stuff. I have a video coming out later sometime eventually when I get to it with the car smoking and everything, but I recentered the front mount, making it look pretty good, and I added new mounts. I had to paint them, but I added new proper mounts to get that thing all sorted because it was kind of loose and it was off-centered. And I also took off the ETS crooked spray paint stencil job. But I gotta check the intake valves and figure out this intermittent smoking issue on the deceleration. Some people say turbo, some people say oil control rings. I'm not sure. I gotta dig into it more. But let's get these wheels off and jacked up. Brake caliper should be, I think, a 17 millimeter. Yeah, 17. The brake line that's on the caliper is a 14. So, caliper and rotor are off. This thing is pretty tiny. Let's just see how this looks. This was one thing I was kind of worried about. They said these don't fit aftermarket hubs, and I wasn't sure if these were OEM or not. So that might be our first issue right there, but let's see what this looks like. Quite the difference. All right, so we're back about a day and a half later. I got these machined. Now they fit the aftermarket hubs. They're centered. The rotor will go on that. Now I've seen people talk about the 5 millimeter spacer isn't enough to center the rotor to the caliper. It's still a little bit offset, so you can get titanium shims that go behind the brake pads to help center that. Or some people do is they machine the back of the calipers like 3mm, and then get like a 3mm custom spacer. I don't know, I'm gonna see how it looks. There's plenty of people that run it just like this, with the caliper not dead center, because these rotors are actually thinner. Regardless, I think this will be fine. Plenty of people run it this way. I'm gonna see how it looks and go from there. All right, so a few things I'm not in love with. These rotors, or these calipers with these wheels, are extremely tight. I had to shave them down a little bit. I had to get a feeler gauge to show you how tight it is, but I don't love that because I know that, you know, those can expand a little bit from thermal expansion. So is that enough clearance or not? I don't know. I might sand it down a little bit more. I don't know. The only other thing you could do is also take off some of the, you could add a wheel spacer, which I don't really want to do wheel spacers because then it's going to bring my fitment out even more. I'll have to get extended lug nuts, all that. Or I could take 2mm off of the caliper itself to where it mounts so it sits in a little bit more. I'm not sure. And then the other thing I didn't like is, so you have to swap this tube to the bottom and then the bleeders to the top, right? But then on the inside, where the brake line connects, on at least the Tesla ones, I don't know if the other ones are, but that's on the bottom now, and it has a weird route for the brake line. I'll show you that in a minute. All right, so this is the driver's side, and I'm actually okay with that. It actually clears just fine now. So what I did was I removed the brake dust shield. I'm not sure how bad that is, but I removed that. And then on the back, I'm gonna pull the other caliper off and I'll show you what I did. Yeah, we're getting there. The only thing I still don't like is the way the brake line is. I'm not sure what I can do about that. All right, so I'm not sure if on the CTSV ones that you can swap, like if there's a plug that you could put here, but this one's not threaded or anything, so it's down there and it has to be at that weird angle. I don't know. I don't like it, but it'll work for now. Maybe we can get, like everything clears. I just have to put a loose tie here, and that keeps it away from everything. And it doesn't pull too tight, doesn't do anything crazy, but like I said, I don't love it. But essentially with the way these are set up, they're side specific, and the smaller piston has to be up top. The leading piston has to be up top, and then the bigger piston on the bottom. So I'm gonna have to swap this over to the bottom, swap the bleeder nipples up to the top, and that'll be that. Also, I'll show you what I did to get this further in, probably a millimeter or two. So when people don't run the CTSV spacer swap kit, they have these machined down, the 5mm. Basically, place I've read also said that 5mm isn't really enough, and you should do like 6.1 or something around there. I basically, to get better clearance, I'm using the spacer kit, and I'm milling these down flush. So basically, I don't know how much that is, but it's not much. But it's just enough for better clearance. This is the port I was showing you. I had to look on the CTSV if that has like a plug or something, but this one does not. But yeah, I'm gonna get that done and then get this in. All right, so both sides are in. Brake lines are attached. Like I said, I don't love it, but they're free and clear. They shouldn't hit anything. All together, as you can see, I think I have a video. I had this shaved, so then I sanded the whole thing and repainted it and put Brembo stickers on. So unfortunately, we lose the Tesla. All that's left now is to bleed the brakes, and we're done. And hopefully everything works out good. I'll get back to you guys when we're done bleeding the brakes. But I'm happy to finally have my car done because it kind of took longer than I thought. More things popped up, but in the end, it'll be worth it. All right, so that's pretty much gonna do it for this video. I took on a drive, did great, felt good-ish. The pedal felt a little mushy, so I brought it back, re-bled everything. On the last wheel, I broke one stud, and then I was like, that's not a big deal. I could still drive it today. Then I broke another stud on the same wheel, so the last wheel, last lugs, 2 of them broke. So I ordered ARP extended studs and then different lug nuts that have no end on them. So those will be here tomorrow. Get those on. And yeah, it's been pretty good. The only other thing with the car now is I gotta figure out why it's smoking still. So I gotta check the intake valve seals and a whole bunch of stuff. But appreciate you guys watching, checking out the video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.